Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Alexio Picco. I'm the Managing Director of the Circle Group, and I'm very happy today to welcome you to the Connecting You Insights 2021 Spring Edition. We started at the beginning of the week, and we had already a number of very challenging and interesting interviews, workshops, panels with a number of key experts and really a huge number of participants, so thanks already. This morning we opened the day. We have another event later on. Today is much more dedicated to digitalization, and the first one is cutting-edge interoperability. So when IoT and artificial intelligence drive real value to port operation. We have a very well established panel of distinguished panelists, really trying to give the different perspective and angles of this topic, also taking into account the Smart Sea project that is one of the core components of this meeting today, that is the project run by the Port Authority of Ancona that is related to the use of artificial intelligence in customs operations. So without losing time, I would kindly ask to Mr. Gianluca Pellegrini, that's the Technical Director of the Central Authority, Port Authority, to give some introductory speech. Before I just remind you to use the Q&A chat panel to ask questions to the panelists. We should be able to answer already live, but if not, we will try to cover also in other ways. Just let me introduce first Mr. Gianluca Pellegrini, that is the Technical Director of the Central Adriatic Port Authority. He's the Chief Engineer in charge of the main infrastructure development of the 6 ports managed by the Port Authority. His background includes energy networks, building and management of complex public infrastructure and facilities, and maritime and civil works, with more than 20 years experience in public works. So I'm really happy to give you the floor, Mr. Pellegrini, and we can start our event, and I will moderate the rest of the session. Mr. Pellegrini, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Mr. Alexio Picco. Good morning. First of all, I would like to thank all the guests and the distinguished speakers for participating to this important webinar on the application of innovative technology and interoperability to the maritime freight traffic. Innovation and technology management are between the mainstream priorities at European and international level to boost the efficiency of the maritime traffic and logistics chains. In particular, the combination between technologies as artificial intelligence and IoT applications and the innovations introduced by the Union Customs Code can improve the performances of the logistics nodes that work as entry and exit gates of the single market. Moreover, the application of the innovation technologies has often a positive impact also in the optimization of spaces and the procedures in ports, as well as on environment. Finally, I would like to thank the European Climate, Infrastructure and Environment Executive Agency, CEF, for the interest and the support shown for this innovative project with high replicability potential in other EU ports, and the National Customs and the Monopolies Agency for the strong cooperation established since the first phases of project development that will continue until the full implementation of the system. I wish a fruitful webinar to all the participants. Thank you at all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pellegrini, for the welcome addresses. And we go now to the openings. And for the openings, we thought that what's best that to have our project officer of the Smart Sea project, Patricia Kulecka, Cinea. I should be now able to remember that the name is changed from Inea to Cinea or Cinea. That's something that we still need to see how to pronounce depending where we are. So Patricia is project manager in Unit B2, the Central and Southeast Europe plus ATM and Just Transition Mechanism for the European Climate Infrastructure and Environmental Executive Agency, Cinea. 16 years of experience in the area of transport in the private and public sector, and more specifically in the vehicle logistics sector, research in transport and transport infrastructure. Out of this, 9 years working at the European Executive Agency, recently called Cinea, as project manager. So for the openings, I kindly ask Patricia to be on stage and to give her speech. The floor is yours, Patricia.
I'm trying to share my screen now,
Yes, Patricia, please also turn on your webcam if you can. Thank you very much.
So, okay, that worked. And now let me see the share screen. Yeah, somehow, for some reason, I am not able, the button share is not available. Let me see, maybe I can.
Just give me 1 second and try to help here from.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I connected via the browser. I don't know if that makes a difference.
Okay, let's see. Otherwise, do we have your presentations and we can maybe share it?
Yes, you do.
Okay.
Yes, that's fine. Okay.
Okay, just tell us next when you want to pass on the.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. My name is Patrycja Kulesza, as just introduced by Alexio, and I am working as a project manager at the European Climate Infrastructure and Environment Executive Agency. And I have the pleasure today to present, to open basically your webinar. Next, please. So I would like to start because I think one of the triggers, of course, for the webinar is the Action Smart C itself, and so I'd like to give a little bit the institutional context behind the selection of this action. So this action has been selected in 2018 until a multi-annual call, and is currently managed by Cinea. Cinea, as has been already mentioned, is called Cinea since the 1st of April. We call it Cinea. Cinea probably is the Italian version. We call it Cinea here. And its predecessor was INEA, which was called Innovation and Networks Executive Agency, and which managed the previous financial framework, so between 2014 and 2020. I think we should say that in terms of its scope, it still continues along the same lines as before, as INEA did. However, it expanded its scope as well. We have many additional programs, which I will talk about later. And the key feature is, or the key main objective for us is to really support the main priorities of the European Green Deal. We kind of called European Green Deal Agency. Next one, please. Also, I just wanted to quickly mention that we are an executive agency, and therefore we are working in a close partnership with the Commission. And within our partnership with the Commission, we have clear lines of division of tasks. So it is actually Commission that defines strategy, objectives, priority areas, selects the projects, makes program decisions, and evaluates the programs, and then at the end also our performance. Whereas our role is to organize call for proposals, and then we also monitor the technical and financial implementation of the projects, and always making sure that there is a sound financial management. And at the end, we provide feedback to policy making of the European Commission. So we do not make policy ourselves, but we certainly provide an important feedback to the Commission based on the results of the actions we fund. Next one, please. Next slide, please. INEA has now increased. So INEA has increased and became CINEA. CINEA is now, we have grown in size in terms of staff. So now we are almost 500 people working in the agency as compared to 300 that were there before. And we have many more programs, European programs to manage. And the budget we manage has also significantly increased from 34 billion to 52 billion in co-funding of the programs. Very quickly, I will mention, so the main program here, and probably the most relevant, is the CEF Europe facility, which now it is under the mainly with focus on transport and energy under our agency. And under CEF, there's still digital part, which, however, has been moved in terms of management to a different agency called Health and Digital Executive Agency. And under CINEA, we will still support actions in the transport and energy. And then we have also Horizon Europe with a focus on cluster, climate, energy, and mobility. Innovation Fund, which was there also with us before. And completely new programs that have been added is the European Maritime and Fisheries Fund LIFE program, which is really the program entirely dedicated to environmental, climate, and clean energy objectives. And we also have two financing mechanisms. So we will manage the Trust Transition Mechanism, which is like a public sector loan facility, which will whose role will be to make sure that this transition towards a climate neutral energy happens in a fair way and leaving nobody behind. And then we'll have also a financing mechanism focusing on renewable energy. So that's our new scope. However, the key role, I mean, the main role will still be the same, but extended. Next one, please. So now I would like to just say a few words about this the Action Smart Sea, Scalo Marotti Virtual Corridor, who is being supported by Bio Agency, and who has been selected, in fact, under the Innovation and New Technologies priority in this call for proposals from 2018. It is a very good action. It's an emblematic one, I would say. And it has scored, all the boxes, ticked all the boxes in the selection. And it's also doing very well. So as you know, the main objective is of this action was to really to purchase and test the artificial technology in order to track and trace vehicles along a port road linking two customs areas. And this action has been enabled or was able to also be implemented successfully thanks to a very good cooperation and of involved stakeholders and possible interoperability of different platforms that are involved and necessary for this to happen. And as I said, the action is progressing well. We hope it's finishing at the end of this year. We hope it will keep up with its progress. And most of the application has already been completed, acquired. I mean, artificial intelligence application and ICT equipment. The system, the very software which enables the dialogue between all those different platforms is being developed, and in parallel there are some pilot tests. There's some pilot testing going on. And so, as I mentioned, this smart sea action is it's a first phase, as I understand, of more. There are more plans to develop it, and it's a very good step. Next slide, please. Also, a little bit to illustrate and put everything into context, I just have a small slide on illustrating a little bit how much we actually fund currently in Italy, or how many actions we support in Italy. So it's a little bit over 100 actions for an amount of 1.7 billion of co-funding. And out of this, just to illustrate, 22 actions, around 70 million euros in co-funding, goes to those innovative actions, this new technology actions focusing on digitalization, smart artificial intelligence, smart applications, the ones of a type of smart C actions. And of course, we hope there will be many more in the future, and there's certainly a focus and the priority of the Commission is certainly to have more of those. Next slide, please. Now, so what's next? As already mentioned, CENEA has extended, so we are managing now more budget for energy and transport. It's 31.65 billion. This is the budget. I should mention this is the budget that is under CEF2. CEF2, which in fact has not been yet formally adopted. So this is what we'll be managing the moment it's formally adopted, and this formal adoption is now envisaged for summer 2021, July. And as soon as this is adopted, then there will be probably some discussions in the CEF committee on regarding the work program, and after that, we will be able to publish a first call for proposals. At this stage, we think it will probably probably be in the third quarter of 2021. Also, as an information, in this particularly this first call, the eligibility of the costs for proposals will be retroactive. So all the costs from 1st of January 2021 will be eligible. This is not going to be the case for the next calls. For the other calls, most probably it will be from the moment you submit your proposal. This is a little bit an exception for this, since we have this delay in the adoption of the program and in the publication of the calls. Another important thing going on in parallel is the revision of TEN-T guidelines, which should hopefully be finalized as well in September 2021. Next slide, please. So just to say, since the CEF2 has not been yet formally adopted, I'm afraid I cannot go into details and talk about the possibilities of funding in the next calls, because that unfortunately we can talk about it only once this is available. However, I think it's important to mention that, of course, CEF2 is not going to change its scope very much. It will continue to fund development of sustainable transport infrastructure with high EU added value, contributing to the completion of the TEN-T core network, which should happen by 2030. So it will for sure focus still on the completion of the TEN-T network on one hand, and then it will focus on modernization of that network on the other hand. And under modernization, we understand the greening and digitalizing of transport and mobility. So certainly under this objective of greening and digitalizing of transport and mobility, there will be plenty of opportunities for actions like Smart C and its continuation. CEF2, of course, will reflect all the main strategic priorities of the European Green Deal and of the European Sustainable and Smart Mobility Strategy. Therefore, things like smart applications or connected automated multimodal mobility, artificial intelligence, innovation, all that will be certainly part of it. Just to finalize, I wanted to point out that, as I mentioned a little bit before, under CENEA we will be funding and will have money available under CEF, Transport and Energy, and the digital part itself is moving to a different agency. But so to some extent, I think it's for you. I think in the future it's probably important to look at both agencies and at both call for proposals in both of them. As within the digital part, there will also be actions, opportunities for supporting operational digital platforms and implementing digital connectivity infrastructures in general. that will be more or less it from my side. Just maybe also to underline that for proposals to be successful, of course, it's the most important is to prepare it well, and we will be available as soon as the call for proposals will be published. We always organize info sessions, and we are always available for queries, and we always answer questions related to the call, so that you can prepare your proposal well. Next slide, please. So my last slide is to say only that these are the means or the channels during which you can, through which you can keep in touch with us. And I would really highly encourage you. And I hope you will be applying for those funds that will be available in the future. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Patricia. It was very interesting also to understand how INEA has changed in CENEA, and how the different agencies are going to take care of the different aspects, specifically the one you mentioned on the digitalization. And of course, there is, let's say, a good expectation in terms of the next CEF, the first CEF2 call that is going to come, but we will see across summer. So now we move into really the technical part of the session. What we framed is the following. I will just introduce a little bit with a couple of slides the topic of artificial intelligence and machine learning applications in transport and logistics, just to frame a little bit for the ones that are a little bit less familiar with those subjects. And then we have the main technical session promoting and presenting the Smart C results with Guido Vettorel and Alfredo Volpicelli, that is substituting Danilo Bottone, and then a panel discussion with Guido Vettorel again, and two of our guests, Georgios Tsimiliklis and Peter van Bowel. So let's start from my introduction. Can you let me share my screen? Okay. Do you see it?
Yep, full screen, please. Thank you.
Okay, fine. So it is just to frame a little bit. First of all, I mean, what we are talking about, it is in a way part of an overall, let's say, concept in which ports are really becoming intelligent element of the network, not only of the transport network, but nowadays also as energy hub of the energy network. And there are a number of technological possibilities that now are totally mature in terms of IoT application, cloud application, and again, artificial intelligence, machine learning, that makes the different applications possible in a port, moving the port really in a digital connected one, and delivering a number of applications that are more and more interoperable between them. And that includes includes all the different actors around the port community, the port authority themselves, but also shipping agents, terminal operators, freight forwarders, multimodal transport and combined transport operators, and others. In order to do that and to provide these advanced services, there is always the step to acquire data, to aggregate data, and to process data. And in this respect, artificial intelligence is one of the key element, because artificial intelligence, just as a definition, consists of the assessment of data, normally a big amount of data, big data, in order to take actions and to have to maximize the chance of successfully achieving predefined goals. In terms of application in our domain, they have been already used in different kinds, not only in the one that we are going to see, but also in real-time berth planning, in what is generally called the port call optimization, predictive maintenance, because prediction is one of the key element of the possibilities, one of the key possibility and feature of the artificial intelligence, in automated yard planning, and also demand planning at the gates. There are anyhow some challenges in terms of using properly artificial intelligence. First of all, the introduction of the newest IoT sensor technologies. We now can use really substantially sensor to to do everything in a big environment such as the port. And we have also the, let's say, the layer, the communication layer that is evolving with much more capabilities. Yesterday, we had a full event dedicated to 5G application in ports. And this is, of course, the possibility to have a better and more reliable and more data to be transmitted with this 5G network. Another challenge is to have accurate data, and not only data, but also quality data. Developing some man-machine interface for assisting then the operator, following also the suggestion that can come from an artificial intelligence application. And step by step, the operating system existing in terminals and elsewhere should be also should embed artificial intelligence solutions. Also think about the incredible amount of data that are managed by a port community system. And also another challenge is introduce appropriate countermeasures against virus and hacking, that all these, distributed technologies make in a way the possibility for cyber attack more feasible. And that is why also, on the other hand, cybersecurity is increasing day by day in importance. This is a general, I'd say, slide in which you could see how big data and artificial intelligence application in maritime could be seen together. And you see here another application that is already ongoing, for instance, for the application of big data analytics coming from the AIS, VTMS and AIS system. And then you have much more coming. Machine learning is a similar concept, because it's more dedicated to a specific machine that are learning. So they are they are learning by themselves, understanding what they are doing and the effects, the impacts of the actions that they are putting in place, and trying to optimize and be able to distinguish which data are useful or not in their work. In this respect, machine learning devices capture information that could be equivalent of the different senses we have as human beings, and they generate a series of data that are processed and organized in algorithms, and then gaining much more precision when they're in learning by doing, in a way. And this is something that is strictly related to the concept of artificial intelligence. Again, in the maritime domain, we have already a number of applications that are related to the concept of digital ships for the ship side, for the vessel side, for digital ports, for instance, intra-port coordination, ship to port and port to interland, connecting port of networks, and also the supply chain. So we have the three elements: the maritime element, the port element, and the supply chain element, already covered by a number of applications. We have some enabled that we discussed already: cloud application, and the connectivity, so 5G, and of course the IoT sensors and the big availability, the huge relevant availability of data, and of course impacts in terms of flexibility, more transparency, cost efficiency, better use of data, safety and security among the others. This is the end of my very short introduction. So I thank you for listening, and I go now to the technical part. So after this introduction, let's see what was the real application, and which is the status of the application in Ancona. And so I give the floor to Guido Vettorel, that is the head of Unit Development, Promotion, Statistics, Communication, EU projects in the Central Adriatic Port Authority. In his position, he's in charge of the coordination and implementation of the ICT development initiative of the Port Authority, such as MARC, with particular reference to customs procedure, port community system interoperability, and also the implementation of the virtual museum and the management of the specific tool for passengers, cruisers, and tourists. Guido works in the port sector since 2008 and has also more than 10 years experience in the management of EU-funded projects. So it's my pleasure to give you the floor, Guido, to present the status of this application, artificial intelligence application as MARC project. Guido, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Alexio. Good morning to you, to the panelists, and to all the persons that are following the seminar this morning. Before starting my presentation, let me thank also Mrs. Kulesa, our project manager from CINEA, for her words towards the Smart Sea action and for the very interesting news she gave to us in her presentation. So I'll go straight to the screen share. I think now you should see it. Okay.
Yes, Guido, thanks.
Okay, okay. So in my presentation, I will tell you the current status of the Smart Sea action and of the introduction of the impact of the introduction of artificial intelligence in ports. It's very interesting because what I'm going to say is it sums up actually to the presentation that Alexio just gave to us, because in the case of Smart Sea, we see artificial intelligence impacting especially in the public sector organization. So Port Authority, Customs and Monopolies Agency. That's why we do the presentation in two parts together with Mr. Volpicelli. And this, I think, completes the framework, especially in ports, where we have an important part of public activities, so activities implemented by institutions that can support the port competitiveness and the efficiency of the logistic chains. So brief overview about the Central Adriatic Ports Authority. We were established at the end of 2016 by the new law on ports in Italy. Before we were Port Authority of Ancona. Now we manage 6 ports in central Italy. The main ports remains Ancona as international ports, but then we have other ports in Marche and Abruzzo region, including Ortona, which is the main, the second commercial port for central Italy. So I gave you here some data concerning the pre-COVID situation, especially in terms of number of passengers. And just to give you an overview about the network of the 6 ports. With particular reference to the port of Ancona. Ancona is a multi-purpose port, but it has a strong specialization on international motorways of the sea. We have permanent lines all year round with Croatia, Albania, and Greece. So from the point of view of the topics of the presentation of today, we have all the possible cases in concerning ferries, concerning motorways of the sea, with reference to the customs procedure. So we have 2 EU countries corresponding, Greece and Croatia, but Croatia is outside the Schengen area. Plus we have a third country like Albania. Moreover, in the 2, let's say, in the 2 connection with the EU country, we often have non-EU freight on board the ships, on board the trucks embarked on the ships, as the Croatian ports serve not only Croatia, but also Bosnia, Serbia, and Northern Macedonia, and Montenegro trade relations, while Greece is a significant entry point also for Turkey, but not only all the Black Sea area. The image you can see here is just to give you an overview about an in-depth analysis on origin and destination of the freight flows on board the ferries that we made some years ago. So you really see that most of our traffic is EU related, not related just to Italy. We served on total 85 NUTS1 EU regions, with also territories outside the EU. And last word about the fast growing line with Albania. connected to the Italian manufacturing, but not only. This is also more and more an EU line. So that's why efficiency in customs operation is really important for our port. Ancona is one of the main ports for international motorways of the sea at the EU level. We are on two corridors, actually, the ScanMed corridor and the Baltic Adriatic since the beginning of this year, but still is a city port. So we have all these ferry lines calling the port very close to the town. So we really have the lack of proper spaces for, especially for customs control, but then for all the logistics operator. In the small round here on the left, you can see where in the past we had in particular the customs area for controls for trucks waiting for embarking or after disembarking in the port. And this was completely inefficient, not only because it's very close to the monumental area of the port, but also because the exit of the port is completely on the opposite side, so in the low right part of the picture that you can see. So the solution that was used in the past was completely inefficient, with a strong impact on port traffic, and strong inefficiencies also because the customs offices and the custom forwarders premises were far away from the parking. We had the opportunity to move on another site the customs control area, but to do so we had the challenge on how to link two customs areas that were not contiguous, so they were separated by a local road. So that's why we had the support of technology and innovation. In this case, what we did, we started to work with the Customs and Monopolies Agency in 2018, and we proposed to shift the customs controls area from the part of the key on the higher part of the image to Scalo Marotti, that you can see in light blue here. So very close to the entrance and the exit of the port, close to the ticket office, and as it was a former facility of the railways, Italian Railways infrastructure manager, there are also available buildings in this area where we could move both customs and custom forwarders offices, creating a hub for controls dedicated to the motorways of the sea. To avoid the problem of controls in the transfer between the two areas, we set up this project, Secure Transfer, called, the acronym is TEAMS, with this goal to move in the most secure way, and the freight traffic having to perform customs operation away from the old port area and move it in this new space, in this new area. Of course, something that could be done with human operators, but this would mean for the customs and also for Guardia di Finanza, the Italian customs police, so the second institution involved in the custom controls, a strong increase in terms of staff, and this was not acceptable, of course. So we made an in-depth market analysis, and we found this mature product, this artificial intelligence system, able to avoid the increase in human operators for controls, because it works in a completely automatic way. In this way, we are now setting it up to control the virtual tunnel. So this part that you can see in green, but also all the roads inside the port area to the driving to the gates where you see entry and exit of the two terminals, of the two ferry terminals. So just an overview about the technology. The name of the technology is Atreyu, and is an artificial intelligence system with a core activity based in the 3D camera tracking and recording, with a set of additional modules. And here you can see the added value that we see in the institutional point of view that sum up with what Alexio was saying before, because the same system can also provide to the port authority services in terms of surveillance, monitoring, traffic flows management, so not only for customs controls and customs purposes, but also for the organization of the in and out traffic flows from the ferry terminals, safety applications, security application, especially for the entrance of vehicles, authorized vehicles, in port, data management, and also an important aspect, disaster prevention. Last year we had a tremendous fire in the port, and one of the reasons of the big fire was that the area was in the night, was without people there. So the fire, after the fire was noticed, it took some time, while we just with some cameras and this system available, any problem, any kind of situation like the setup of a fire can immediately be noticed and countermeasure can be immediately applied. So really, you in our case, we bought a system, we buy a system and a service, and you can get advantages in many aspects. Of course, artificial intelligence is just a part of a complex system, because artificial intelligence is able to control in an efficient and unmanned way the traffic flows, but then you need to provide the rules for every vehicle passing under the control of the cameras. So here we have the added value of an institution as the port authority, which is in Italy we have a completely public port authority. So we are focused on the general interest of the infrastructure. So in our competence, in our capacity, we can federate the different stakeholders like customs, harbor master for the information related to the ships, and the private operators, in particular for the topics of today, maritime agents and customs forwarders. Because what we do, basically, what we are developing is the capacity to merge the information and transfer them to the proper authorities. So AIDA, the software of the customs agency, PMIS, the software of for vessel traffic control in Italy, and Atreyu, the artificial intelligence to ensure the unmanned control inside the port area. So the establishing artificial intelligence in institutional activities means, first of all, working on organization of processes and cooperation between the different institutions, everyone according to its competence. Where we are now with the project. So we have all the port gates fully equipped with the cameras. Just to give you some overview, so we have a good number of cameras for every lane, of course, of every gate. Here is the extra Schengen exit of the ferry terminal of the port, and an example of the capacity of the system to track and provide a lot of information about each vehicle in when it's moving under every gate. The second phase is the equipment of the virtual tunnel. So also in this case, we already prepared the works. Now we are acquiring the cameras, and we will have it in a few months available and integrated with the artificial intelligence. And this is just an overview on how the system works. So this is the case of the embarking flow. So the vehicles arrives to Scalo Marotti, declaring to perform a customs procedure. So the customs the custom forwarders will provide the data to the system, linking the customs data to the plate number. And in this way, we have at the gate, we have the joining of the data with the physical object, which is the loading unit. In our case, is the vehicle. Then we have the vehicle inside the area, continuously controlled by the system to ensure that also no one is getting close to the vehicle, that there are no illegal activities performed inside the yards. And the vehicle can exit Scalo Marotti only after the authorization by the customs authority. If the vehicle tries to leave before, for instance, there will be the alarm immediately sent to the control authorities. Not only this, but once the vehicles will exit through the virtual tunnel, it will be continuously controlled to avoid risks of illegal handling of the cargo along the street. Also inside the port until it arrives to the ferry gate entrance, so that the gate will provide via the artificial intelligence the information to the customs in real time that the vehicle and the cargo have left the country and are going to embark. To do so, the main challenge is the interaction of the different operators. So we are developing on our own a software interface dedicated to maritime agents and customs forwarders, while with the reference to the interoperability with customs, the Customs and Monopolies Agency in Italy, we performed several tests in the last 6 months, and now we are really proud to say that we are the first case in Italy of interoperability between public software according to the new standards of the Italian digital agency, the new standards of security and certification. So a lot of innovation in this project. Then I told you we are closing the contracting phase to equip the virtual tunnel, and we are in the final development phase also of the wrapper software, which is the let's say the core of the system that will merge the information between the vehicles, the ship, and the customs information. In a few seconds, I will launch a video, and then I'll to present the project, and then I close my intervention. Just 1 second. Okay.
Perfetto.
Okay, just to conclude with my presentation, what are the main advantages of this project? We have you saw it from the video basically. The increased efficiency in controls and in port operation, because of course the digitalization and allows better control also on timing of the different operation and on the responsiveness both of private and public stakeholder. Of course, we had an immediate improvement in the organization of spaces in the port and significant impact in on environment, 60,000 kilometers per year of heavy traffic saved. And of course, the visibility and the financial support of an important program like CEF. But what you saw from the video and the most important added value is the improved and strong cooperation between the public authorities that can really give an added value for the traffic development of the port. So thank a lot, and I stop on my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Guido. It was a very effective video. I really like it. In a couple of minutes, you have really the flavor of what this application is doing. So it's very nice. Congratulations. Let's move to the institutional side of this project, the Italian Customs, and I call on stage Mr. Alfredo Volpicelli, that is project manager and ICT specialist with 19 years of experience in ICT sector. He has been working since 2006 at the ICT department of the Italian Customs and Monopolies Agency. His focus is the development of integration of new technologies in the customs software environment. Currently working at the Research and Digital Transition Office as responsible for the implementation of co-funded projects by the Ministry of Transport and Infrastructure. Alfredo is involved in the national program for the digitalization of custom procedures in all Italian ports as project manager specifically for Ancona, Ravenna, and Vado Ligure Savona ports. Alfredo, the floor is yours.
Thank you for the floor, Alexio. Good morning to everybody. Today, I'm going to present the Italian projects for the digitalization of custom procedures in the ports, in the cooperation with other government authorities. I have to just a moment to share the screen. Okay. In 2015, the Italian Customs started the e-manifest initiative to manage the pre-arrival goods from the seaside. The initiative was continuously improved with the interoperability with the Capitaneria di Porto, the Coast Guard, with the new manifest, and recently with the smart terminal procedures. In parallel, also the fast corridors were implemented to speed up the transport of goods at the final destination. So to close the custom chain in 2017, the agency launched the port digitalization, a nationwide initiative to implement the technologically advanced solution for the digitalization of custom procedures. It constantly mainly of two projects, the iRail, focused on the rail procedures, and port tracking that for the other means. Both projects integrated the IoT and the interoperability in the AIDA system. AIDA is our custom declaration processing system. It's based on the single window, one-stop shop approach, and it elaborates a big amount of data. This 50 million of declaration. This just a part of this data is also exchanged with other administration, other institution. controls or for other purposes. So the IoT is important to integrate processes because from this perspective, it's crucial to integrate customs and logistics processes and also adopt to robust technology solution to exchange data. The IoT is important for the process, as I said, and interoperability is the solution for the exchange of data. In this way, we can manage technical specification like security, ICT, security from the ICT point of view, create standard web services that can be used in all ports, and finally, we can also define service level agreements to provide a reliable system. As I said before, the Internet of Things is the key. It's the key to integrate customs and logistics processes. And for us, is represent the universally unique identifier that we use for the automatic tracking of vehicles and goods in the port area. We generate the IoT for all vehicles and goods, and phase by phase, step by step, we had the customs and logistics information. In this way, we eliminate redundant activities and increase the security, applying the once only principle. To manage the IoT and link it with the master reference number and the intermodal transport unit, we defined with the port authorities nodes, routes, missions that represents all possible movements of IoT. So in this way, we have a map of the all possible movements. The real-time information IoT provide interesting information for our custom officers that can be used, this information also for controls. The Italian ports are not homogeneous for dimension, structure, typology of goods, ICT level, and so on. So the digital program to implement the digital program, we decide to start from some ports to acquire the specific knowledge and experience on these ports, and then move on the others. So we decide to divide all projects in 4 clusters. To reuse a solution and also to use the experience already gained. This approach works, and we have already have a number of solutions that we can apply in the port with the similarities. The first cluster, in the first class, there are the project completed or almost completed, but in the operation, already in the operation. In the second cluster, there are some ports that we have completed the development phase, and now we are testing the solutions. The third cluster includes the ports with the preliminary design, and the last cluster is for the new project that we intend to launch in the next future. Bari was the first port that we studied, represent for us the pilot project, not only for because we defined the processes, we analyzed the processes, but also because we set up a methodology. With this methodology, we apply this methodology in other ports. We create in Bari the first web services that we use in all ports. So it was very important, was a good training for us to work on this part. And now we use their solution wherever. Trieste is another important port because we implemented the advanced notice of arrival for export and transit procedures. And also we implemented some web services to share the custom data with the Guardia di Finanza. As project manager of the digitalization of Porta Arancona, I'm very glad and proud to present it because for the collaboration with the colleagues of Porta Authority, but also because as Guido said before, we had a lot of interesting results that can be used in not only in the ports. The first phase is completed, and we implemented the procedures of entry, exit of gates, the embarkation, disembarkation, the payment, and the tracking of goods in the port area. The second phase is in progress. We come to complete it in few months. Why Ancona is important, is so important? Because the AI solution, the Atreo solution works very good, as Guido described before, presented before. And it works very good to recognize vehicles and goods, and the integration with the IoT gives a powerful tool to our custom officer. Moreover, without providing very technical information, the interoperability developed in this project is a use case certified by the Italian authority for the ICT. This means that the solution can be used not only in the other ports, but also by other administration institutions. So we work fine. Now we have a lot of information that are linked, and this information can be used in several ways. For instance, in our this is an example of how it works our software. Our custom officer now they know all data about the declaration, but also all moments inside the port in the real time. So they can decide. They have some information if there are some differences on the declaration or some other things, and they can decide if to control or to speed up the movements. Another the other project really important for the digitalization is iRail. iRail is foreseeing the creation of custom model for the digitalization of logistic information related to the goods in the last railway mile. In this project, the agency cooperates with other port authorities and other actors like terminals or railway infrastructure manager. The project is co-financed by Connecting Europe Facility Transport of EU and was created to promote the rail freight transport in Europe through the digitalization process and the implementation of technical specification for interoperability applied to telematics application for freight. So Also, in this case, the interoperability is the core, and the experience and the Italian experience on this method represent the key success factor. But also in this case, but I would say in general, we think to apply the AI technology. The experience gained in Ancona is important, because for us now we know that all scenario that in all cases that there is a code that can be read by automatically, this with the artificial intelligence, that this scenario can be integrated in our system. So the last slide shows the project that my office is managing at the moment. It's a big challenge, but we are confident that the modular approach, the engineering and the integration of processes using the IoT, the experience on the interoperability, and also the adoption of AI technology is crucial to complete the whole projects and obtain the most important result for the program, improve the traffic goods performance at the national level. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alfredo, for the in-depth presentation of the many initiatives that the Italian customs are currently running. And I may say that this is already, in a way, an historical background, because you started many years ago to digitalize your procedures, and the Italian customs was really one of the front runner in the digitalization, talking about 10, 12 years ago. So thanks a lot for this picture of the Italian customs and how this is also, of course, related to what we are discussing this morning here. And now we go to the, now we go to the, let's say, the panel discussion. We have, together with Guido, we have two other high-level experts in innovative application in ports, not only artificial intelligence, machine learning, but others. And we would like to have them first to give a little bit of a flavor of their experience with a short presentation about innovation in ports in terms of these kind of applications. And then there are some questions coming, and I prepared some questions for you, and I think we are in time. I ask you to stick in 5-7 minutes for the presentation, in order also to have a bit of time for a round of Q&A between us. We start from George Tsimiklis, that he holds a diploma degree of electrical and computer engineering from the University of Patras in 2010, obtaining his MSc in Entrepreneurship and Innovation Management from KTH in 2012. The first years of his professional career, he worked in the IT industry in France, holding position of quality assurance business analyst. And during the last 5 years, first he worked as project leader in the upgrade of the digital system in tourism and digital transformation in Tokyo. And then since May 18 is a member of the iSense, a group of ICCS and in National Technical University of Athens, and being responsible for the Smart Integrated Systems department. Your research interests include data management system and solution for complex systems. So a very in-depth background, international background, I may say, and also not only academic, but international background. So I'm very pleased to leave you the floor, Georgios. I see you on stage, so the floor is yours.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks, Alex, for the nice introduction. Just let me share my screen. You should be able to see my screen, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, nice. So yeah, indeed, as well said in the introduction, I'm leading the Smart Integrated Systems group of ICCS, and my group, and also myself personally, I'm very much interested in research around data and starting from a sensing of data, how we can collect them, how we can handle them in high volume, and also how we can share them and apply nice technologies like AI and ML, as I just said, in order to gain nice results and solve complex problems. Part of the work that we are doing is within ports, and we like very much to see ports as an application area of research, because it's a very complex ecosystem, and we can see like a lot of issues that could be improved with the application of artificial intelligence. But there are a lot of terms and I would say different approaches to AI. Myself, I like seeing it as an analytical models that are able to generate predictions, rule answers, recommendations, and at the same time, what we need to keep in mind that we need to solve the problem and make things better for the ports, but also for our society. And in case we see a bit more like the problems that we need to solve high level at the ports, what we need to achieve is we need to improve the efficiency, safety, and environmental benefits. And this is something that we always need to keep in mind. And I think that was also well stressed by previous speakers. And we need to see AI and all the technology in relation to the Green Deal, and how we can achieve all the goals that the AC has set. And of course, that would be very important for ports, for the logistics sector, but also for our society in general. Also, as well said, I think that was already mentioned in the ongoing projects that AI is coming along with some technologies that are very important for the digitalization and the application of AI. We see like Internet of Things, 5G, and data sharing platforms. And I have to agree that these are setting the scene and are paving the way to solutions that can be applied with AI. Even if there are a lot of barriers, and I would like to discuss a bit of them. For example, I have seen like, and I've heard like speakers before talking about integration and interoperability, which is a very big discussion, and how we can really achieve it, which is also like a part of the AI discussion. Because if we really want to advance, and if we want to advance as a Europe at all, we need to be sure that we understand each other and we let all the machines talk the same way. So I think this was also a very nice introduction to a more generic topic like integration and interoperability. So I would like just to have a handpick like a few projects that are currently running, and we have applied some nice solutions of AI. So I will just try to give a fast overview, as said, like in 2-3 minutes, of what we are doing there and some challenges that are very important for the next steps in the field. The nice solutions that we have currently worked, and the project that was just over, it's the Coriolis, where we have applied some predictive maintenance solutions to the equipment in the port. Predictive maintenance is one of the most important sectors of AI, and it was very well established as part of the Industry 4 and digitalization in general. And of course, ports has a very complex ecosystem where we have a lot of equipment that we wanted to work continuously without any interventions is very, very important. We have seen very good results on the application of these algorithms and how we can improve the maintenance schedule of the equipment. Currently, we have applied it to the trucks that are operating in the port. But of course, this is work that can also be expanded to many other areas. Then another area, I think, that was also discussed slightly yesterday with the combination of 5G. We have the possibility to apply solutions that are very precise in terms of time, but also in terms of application. And especially coming from a computer vision technology that give us the possibility to identify specific objects coming from high resolution videos. For example, we have seen some solutions also that are already applied in Ancona, and I like it a lot, and are also applied in the ports in Greece, like Piraeus for truck detection, and also like the plate detection in the trucks. And what we are trying to do in terms of research is to further expand this area and identify even smaller products within the video, or coming from moving objects like containers that are moving not exactly in the same way like the trucks. So the difficulties are higher. So, for example, one of the solutions that we are currently applying is the container seal detection and also the status of the seal on the container, where the size is much smaller and without interfering to the move of the containers, and of course not at all to the efficacy of the whole system. Then another area that is very interesting for myself and also for the institute is the algorithms that can be applied for air quality as part of the Green Seaport project, where we can see like how we can apply AI algorithms to better understand the measurements that we take from some sensors and better understand like the impact of the port to the whole community around. And that could be also like a starting point in order to further improve all the multimodal connectivity of the port through AI-based analytics and understanding the impact of each of the operations and the interland connectivity overall. And finally, like not talking much about solutions, I think like we have a lot of barriers and issues for the application of AI in total, and especially in a complex ecosystem. And just like trying to share like a few risks that for the adaptations of AI in organizations overall. But I believe that many of them also apply to ports and the logistics industry overall. First of all, we have cybersecurity, which is a very important aspect because we are talking about data that are having, apart from privacy concerns, like, for example, when we have human presence or like data related to people, we also have data with a high business value. So that's very important. There's a lot of work and discussion about regulatory compliance and how this can be achieved when we have AI algorithms and if this is enough. Whereas we are talking a lot about personal and private data and how this could be shared as it is an aspect that everyone is concerned. But I also believe that we also need to consider the open and fair access to data. That is also like a direction that the AC is giving us, and we need to consider how we can keep all the data open and course, like apply nice AI solutions on them. I will not spend more time on that. I would just like to thank you for today's opportunity, as also time potentially is limited, and I hope that we will have the possibility to discuss a few of these items also in the forthcoming panel discussion. So thanks a lot, Alexio, for this opportunity, and to all the participants.
Thank you very much, Georgios. It was very nice framed, also referring to some challenges and risks that I also mentioned in my very short presentation. And we can really see and agree that there are a number of applications feasible in ports, but still a number of challenges to be totally solved. But it's the challenge that we always face in leading innovation. So now I leave the floor and I call on stage Peter van Bowel, that is lead data scientist, sorry for this, lead data scientist in the Port of Antwerp. Peter is a master in economics and data science and worked for 10 years as a data science consultant for different companies in different industry, and in 2020 switched career and started this role as lead data scientist as a Port of Antwerp in the data analytics team. And I underline that it's quite significant that the port, such an important port, has a data and analytics team, a team who is building on the road towards a data-driven organization. To extract value and insights from data, Peter and his team are working on different applications: artificial intelligence application, computer vision, speech to text, recommender systems, process mining, and different departments in the organization also, not only operation, but also HR and finance. Today, Peter will bring a short story of how the Port of Antwerp is building on the road towards a smart port. Port of Antwerp is really, an environment in which this is favored to be developed, not only the port itself, but also the industrial and the rest of the environment are really growing in this respect. Peter, thanks for joining us. The floor is yours.
Thanks a lot, Alexio. Okay, I can see my sound is shared as well. Well, I had a bit.
Good morning and welcome back.
Oh,
okay.
There's something going wrong here. Let's go back. I had a bit longer presentation prepared, but let's see if we can go through it more quickly.
Okay.
Yeah, welcome everybody. I'm operating from this this beautiful building, maybe one of the most beautiful port houses in the world. It is located in Antwerp. It's very close to the centuries-old city of Antwerp, and it's also centuries-old port, but that does not mean that we do everything in the old-fashioned way. On the contrary, we are working hardly to become a very modern and smart port in Antwerp. Briefly, we are the biggest economic driver in Belgium. We have more than 1,000 companies in the port of Antwerp, and we have a GDP of about 5%. We have a strong history, but we are also looking forward towards the future to be sustainable. We have 3 major priorities there, strategic priorities, and I will not go into detail into all of them, but an important one is in transition, that we are looking into how do we become a smart digital port that is more data-driven. So a digital transition is very important for the Port of Antwerp. So with those priorities in mind, those 3 priorities, it is important that we can rely on our people, but of course, data will also play a very important role there. And we are building on that data-driven smart port in Antwerp. But before I come into that, let's have first a very brief look at the nautical chain in Antwerp. This is really an ecosystem where different parties are involved, where ships go to the port in Antwerp, but it's an inland port. It's about 80 kilometers down the river. And ships arriving here at sea, they will take sea pilots to navigate them safely to the river. They will need river pilots to navigate them safely to the port. They might need tug assistance. We have GNA, which is an authority, partly Flemish from Belgium, partly from the Netherlands. And we also have here in the port itself a lot of parties involved. So if I show them on the next slide, we also have the tugboats in the port. We have the logs that are executed. We have dock pilots and so on. So you see there are many parties involved. And if you want to operate efficiently in our port, in our ecosystem, it could be just an optimization problem, right? Just to optimize the different plannings from the different parties and yeah, see if data can support there and if we can do it better than what we do before. Maybe we take some restraints into account, but yeah, it's just an optimization problem. But in reality, we see that there is low transparency in our ports. Different parties have their part of the information. There's limited data sharing, there's limited information sharing. It's also last minute, and it's certainly not something that we get for a time horizon in the future. So if we do not know what is coming ahead of us in the far future, well, then we can support or rely on data because we have a lot of historical data. And we know with artificial intelligence that we can learn from patterns in the past, what the future might bring. In that context, we developed at Port of Antwerp one example, a machine learning model that is predicting arrival times at sea, at the entry of our port. So we have the port here down in Antwerp. We try to predict when ships will arrive here at sea. We take into account ship characteristics, the projected trajectory, travel speeds, and other weather circumstances. And we try to predict how fast a ship can arrive at our port, at the entry point of our port. Now we are able to predict this with more or less an average error rate of less than 15 minutes. So we have a very good view on when ships are arriving at our port. And making this more transparent in our chain, it can help the different parties involved to better make their planning based on that information. Another project we did is more at the end of the supply chain on water is when ships go to their place of destination. We built a recommender system that is advising how many tugs a ship will need to bring it safely to the place of destination. We take their ship characteristics into account, wind speed and wind direction. The location itself, is it a difficult location, yes or no? So we combine different elements and we look at situations in the past where we had a very similar situation as today. And we looked at the number of tugs that were recommended at that time. And we will use that information to make a prediction of the tugs that are needed for new voyages in our ports. And this can help us to make a better tug planning, and better tug planning can help other parties in our chain to better make their part of the planning. Now, it is important that we can, by using AI, make a prediction of the future, see what's coming ahead of us. But it's also important that we can share this information. So at the Port of Antwerp, we have our own platform. It's called Epics, where we can share information and make planning with the different parties involved, which opens a bit of the transparency already. And we also have Nextport. It's a daughter company of Port of Antwerp, which offers a data sharing platform where partners or parties in the port can safely share their information with different other parties. It's also very secure and it's all very performant to share information this way. So if we can look into the future and we can better share information, one of the next steps for the port could be to get more prescriptive. If we know what's coming ahead of us in terms of planning, in terms of congestion, mobility issues, dangerous situations, if we can take all this future information into account, we can today better prescribe how we would make a planning, avoiding a lot of those issues. Now, if you want to invest more in AI, we have four challenges there, which are defined by the AI Research Group Flanders. The first one here on the left, it's that AI should become a kind of commodity, that AI should be fast, responsive, transparent, and that we should be able to rely on it for complex decision making. Also, if we develop different AI systems in the port, it should be important in the longer term that they are able to collaborate with each other. AI in the edge, it's more the topic of IoT, which I'll briefly talk about in the next slides. And AI should also be able to interact with humans. So on the IoT, we are in our ports building a kind of digital nervous system. It's inspired by the 5 human senses. So we are installing a lot of sensors everywhere in the port, cameras, audio, other sensors at the locks, at the bridges. We also have eye noses, which is a detector that can sense gas leaks. And all this data gathered by sensors should be transformed into information and insights by using artificial intelligence to help people make better decisions. And it's one thing to collect the data and transform it to information. The other thing is to bring it to the people. And in that context, we are building a digital twin, which is a virtual replica of the Port of Antwerp, which gives you a 24/7 real-time view of all activities in and around our ports. It's a real-time situation, but in the future, we also want to develop a kind of replay function. And of course, we also want to apply artificial intelligence here to have a look at or glance at what the future brings us. And that will bring us to our final goal, which is Apica. I showed you a brief slide of Apics. It's a planning system. Apica is an intelligent virtual assistant that should help the Port of Antwerp do things more efficient and more data-driven and in a more intelligent way. And I have a short video on that. It's the final slide. Do I still have time to show it, or is it?
No, go on, please.
All right, it's the final one.
Good morning and welcome back. General status report. Today is an overall sunny day, with a light breeze from the northwest. Port traffic is busy as usual at this time of day, with 221 barges and 180 seagoing vessels in port. We're expecting 95 new arrivals and 73 departures today. Road mobility is within efficiency norms. There are 2 INOS quality alerts and 1 ongoing event. Would you like to investigate? At 8:51, INOS 22 detected possible hazardous compounds. Analyzing. According to historic wind data and ship tracking, a possible cause might be the chemical tanker My Fair Lady. Would you like to collect an air sample? Please select available UAV. Calculating flight trajectory. ETA in 1 minute 30 seconds. Initiate. Confirmed. I am Apika. Welcome to the port of the future.
Okay, so that was in a nutshell the presentation I had prepared. So thanks for having me here and for your time and listening to our story.
Thanks a lot, Peter. It seems it's really, you know, the glance of the future, the ports of the future, in which, I mean, a single control tower, you have everything under control. You can react, you know, using drones or other ways. And I mean, it seems, but we are not far away. I mean, it's something that is it look like really in the future, but it is not. So, and thanks for that. It was really, and I was also, I mean, a little bit again surprised by the fact that similarly to other modes, we had the same in rail yesterday. A simple data such as the ETA, the estimated time of arrival, it's not so simple as it seems. You know, it's much more complicated than it seems, and it is exactly the same in the rail sector, and we discussed yesterday about it. So we have just the time. We have 10 minutes. And in these 10 minutes, I would really like to at least to have one question per each of the panelists. And specifically, I ask to come on stage again to Guido and to Georgios. And I will start from Guido that presented already, and because there is one key point for me that is important to stress, how much the digitalization and the innovation in digitalizations are really currently crucial to boost the competitiveness of a port, which is the real role of digitalization in the competitiveness of a port. Guido.
I think is a key priority. It's not by chance that my president usually brings on the same level the development of the infrastructure and of the infrastructure, because we saw by experience in Scalo Marotti, our first application is Scalo Marotti presented today, just show that without building new facilities, we can have additional spaces and gain strong efficiency in the management of real traffic, of ferry traffic, which I repeat is one of the key sectors for the port of Ancona. So really, it helps to make the difference, and it helps to make the difference in a much shorter time compared to the infrastructural development. They must run in the same with the same priority, but really the impact in terms of time is much faster.
Yeah, this reminds me when I was young that I was already in the transport sector, more in the roadside, and one of the typical example was exactly, you know, to show how intelligent transport systems could make the effect to make the roads as capable as extending their infrastructure itself, you know. And this was a learning example when I was even still at university. Thanks, Guido. Georgios, we have been talking about this morning of really a number of applications, but let's if you have to pick, okay, the 3 main disruptive ones, okay, in the next 5 years to come, which ones are you going to choose?
Yeah, I think it's a nice example, Alexio, because to be fully honest with you, I wouldn't see like only the applications and the technology. One of the biggest challenges I see is the application of the technology to the ports and to real issues, because I think the technology is already there and we can already have very nice solutions. And we have seen them. We have very nice solutions in terms of IoT, of 5G is giving us a lot of opportunities. Even we have very nice algorithms of artificial intelligence. So I believe that we need more work and in parallel work to be able and apply them in a way that can solve real problems. For example, I see a problem data sharing, because without having the data, you cannot apply any AI algorithm and you cannot solve any problem. So I believe that technology has potentially moved faster than the acceptability of some of the solutions. So I would say that the technologies are already advanced. So I believe that the stage that we are now, we need to see how technology can be applied in parallel to people to solve problems that, of course, are real, but at the same time support the sustainability of the whole ecosystem. So I would say that technologies, we have them already, and they're already in the port. So I think you have already handpicked very nice solutions. But what I would like to stress mostly is sharing of data and being able that whatever we share is there. Then also what a very important other factor is the equipment that we select for the application of the solutions, because especially for IoT and 5G, but also to apply AI, there are many solutions which are not friendly either to the environment or are not friendly in terms of totality. So, for example, we see many solutions, even at ports, where they install a lot of equipment, which potentially is not needed. So we need to find the balance between the equipment that we install, the algorithms that we have, and how we achieve the solutions as a total. And finally, I would like to see also the trust of the people, and especially the traditional part of the ports and the logistics to support all these solutions and move all together to the digitalization area.
Thanks, George. No, I agree with you. You stressed the point that, okay, the technology is in a way already mature, but all the different barriers that you have to face with when you deliver innovation should be, of course, tackled in a complex environment such as the port one. And I have a curiosity for Peter, because you are now, let's say, running, Peter, a merge with another port. So Antwerp and Zeebrugge, they are merging together in a bigger port, something that on a smaller scale we did also in Italy in several places. But which are the challenges in terms of digitalization and let's say your team, which are the challenges in bringing together another port? That means another background, another people, other systems, which are the challenges you have to deal with?
Yeah, thanks, Alexia. That's really a good question. Well, it's one of our major projects for the moment at Port of Antwerp. Is indeed, as you say, we are merging with Bruges, and there are a lot of challenges ahead of us in terms of aligning processes with each other. But as you mentioned, also the data part. How are we going to incorporate it in one system, let's say, or how we gonna share data between the two parties, or make it to one final solution in the end. Well, right now it's more in the conversation phase, let's say. Let's see how we can work together and bring data together, and then make choices. We have our own systems, we have our own data platforms. It should also be integrated, and we should make a choice there. Which one is the leading one, and how are we going to take over the data from one to another? So in that term, I think the biggest challenge here is the integration of data in the systems. And from there on, I think our CDIO always says that we are working in a kind of candy shop, where we have a lot of very nice opportunities ahead of us. And I think the merger with Bruges opens a lot of new opportunities to do more with the data and to get more insights. And yeah, AI will also play an important role in there. So that's the future, but that's what we are heading towards right now.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Quite clear. We are at the end of the event. I really thank you all the distinguished panelists. It was very interesting and quite clear the different application. I think we achieved the aim we had at the beginning to have this overview, panoramic overview about artificial intelligence, but also to have the concrete example of what's going on in the Port of Ancona. So thanks to Smart Sea in the Port of Ancona, to all our distinguished panelists. Don't forget that our events are still going on. We give you a bit of time to have a bite, to have a little bit a little snack, because the next one is 2:30 in 45 minutes. And it's about, again, a little bit customs, because we are going to talk about digital customs simplification and innovative federative services in maritime and logistics sector, starting in 45 minutes. So thanks again for this. You will have the possibility to have presentation and the video of the event later on our digital channels, web and social networks. Thanks a lot. It was really a pleasure, and enjoy the rest of the day and our next event. Bye-bye.